Hey everybody, so I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm actually going to be doing something a little unscripted, so if you hear me stammer over some of my words, you can actually understand why. It's because this is a topic that is so interesting to me that I don't think I can fully capture my opinions of it in a scripted video. So I'm going to be kind of doing this, I'm going to be kind of winging it. I will kind of cut out parts where I feel like I'm rambling too much, or whenever there's a long pause where I do an or something like that. So, you know, it's just something I kind of wanted to do. And the first topic that I wanted to talk about is the idea of meta in not just video games, but gaming in general. I'm talking like, you know, strategy games, like tabletop strategy games. I'm talking like trading card games, like your Yu-Gi-Ohs, your Magic the Gatherings, that kind of stuff. And the thing that kind of prompted me to go about this is I've actually been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel recently. Now, for those of you who don't know me, you might actually be interested to know that I actually really like TCGs. I absolutely adore TCGs. I love Magic the Gathering. I played a little bit of this game called Eternal that's on Steam that nobody plays. I played the Elder Scrolls Legends TCG, which, as much as I loved it, I still hate that Bethesda killed it, and many other games like that. And the thing about all these different games, but especially Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially, and I'm going to be kind of focusing around Yu-Gi-Oh! Always has the idea of meta being the utmost importance when it comes to being a good player. And there will be people in both camps, you know, people who really treat it like, hey, you know what, you should only play because you want to have fun, you should only play the cards that you will have fun with. And there will be people in the other camp who will say, hey, you should play what wins, you should play what gets you through the game faster, you should play Dick. You probably shouldn't play Dicks that brick, but you also shouldn't play Decks that brick pretty easily. And so that's kind of something that really happens a lot, is you get people who argue, and sometimes they go a little too far with it. Here's where I kind of stand, because I started really kind of getting into meta in any video games, starting actually with Monster Hunter World in 2019 when I injured my knee, and so I was, you know, sitting on my bed for a long time, and I played a lot of Monster Hunter World on my PS4, and I really kind of got into the meta. I really kind of got into the deep nitty-gritty of, you know, your critical eyes, your critical bonus, and all that kind of stuff that really enhance the meta and all that kind of stuff. And I would say my reason for getting into the meta in that is the same reason I like to get into the meta for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I play Sky Strikers, which is a really good budget meta deck, although I don't play it to the full meta because there are some cards that I simply don't have yet. And the opinion that I have is, even if you don't want to play the meta of whatever game you're playing, you should really get into understanding what makes the meta tick. Why is it that this is the most efficient tactic available, which is what meta stands for? And the reason why I think you should really focus in on something like that is because then you really get to understand the nitty-gritty of all other forms of builds in the case of Monster Hunter or decks in the case of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm using a PvE and PvP game example here because I do think it can actually go both ways. Because people will usually associate meta with PvP, especially when it comes to video games and tabletop strategy games or trading card games. They really kind of associate the meta with just that. But I do think that meta also exists within PvE environments. That's actually why you see a lot of people practice the same tactics a lot of the time in speedrunning. That is a PvE activity. It's still meta focused, and that's something that you see a lot with Monster Hunter. There is a meta that goes into Monster Hunter, and so you really do have to focus on what the meta is if you want to get the best results, the lowest amount of times when you fight your arc-tempered Nergigantes or whatever you do in Monster Hunter Rise. I haven't been playing much of that, but I really should get into that because that'd be fun. But yeah, that's something that has interested me. And now here's kind of where I kind of draw the line when it comes to meta. I don't think that you should be dicks to people who are just trying to play for fun if they're not in your space. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say you have a group of people, in the case of something like Monster Hunter, let's say you have a group of people in your Discord server, for example, or your, I guess you could call it a clan, that is just focused on playing whatever builds are fun, whether they're meme builds or just like comfy builds, whatever. You shouldn't just go in there and be like, hey, everybody, you should play meta. You should really focus on getting those elemental criticals. You should really focus on fucking critical eye and all that shit. No, you really shouldn't do that. But at the same time, I do think that it goes both ways. If you have your own Discord where you have your own clan that you play with, you should not compromise whether or not you do meta just because somebody new comes in who is not the leader of that Discord or the owner of that Discord and says, hey, you know what, I just want to play casual. If it says meta builds only allowed here, then yeah, you should understand that that's their Discord, that's their right. They should be able to do that. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people really, I feel like there's a lack of nuance that people need to realize. And I understand I'm kind of jumping from one point to the other. This is why I usually script most of my videos, but I still think that this is very much a topic that a lot of people could really talk about. And it's something that interests me as somebody who loves getting into game mechanics, whether it's in a physical game like Yu-Gi-Oh, or in the case of virtual Yu-Gi-Oh with Master Duel, or something in a traditional video game like Monster Hunter or CSGO or whatever game has some type of meta. I do find this topic to be very interesting, and I don't think people should obviously just be cool. Don't be dicks to other people, whether or not they're into the meta. But at the same time, I do think that there is a benefit to learning about the meta, so that way you can learn the nitty-gritty of the game that you're playing if you really want to. If you really want to get creative. I do think that is a very good way to get creative. What do you guys think? I would really like to hear your opinions. And yeah, I guess it'll be me. Bye.